Y con Erin Piepergerdes, que ya lo conocemos de la página web de hace 8 años, hizo una entrevista para Mortal-Kombat.Org. Bueno, ¿qué tal estás? How are you? How are you guys doing?
Great. Mortal Kombat reveal event? I mean, this is pretty awesome, right?
Yeah,
where else would you want to be?
Well, I mean, also.
It nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Hell yes.
You did. I mean, this was amazing, all the new reveals, the new characters. Geras, how do you pronounce it? Geras, okay. And Scarlett, it was absolutely a
No one saw her coming, and she looks totally different than she's ever looked like before.
Like a new character.
Yep. Fan favorite Baraka coming back.
Yeah.
And then showing off some of Kronika too, right? Like,
yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
She looks head, so...
She's pretty awesome.
Okay. Well, we prepared 11 questions, no more, no less.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. I'm in.
Okay, so if you can answer them for our fans,
sure.
It will be great. So the first one is, MK11 plot will revolve about different timelines. Did you have this in mind during the creation of MKX? Is MK11 the last closing chapter of a trilogy?
So, we have amazing writers. We have Sean Kittleson, who is a comic book writer and worked on the Mortal Kombat X comics. And then we have Dominic. You know how to say Dominic's last name? Because I always butcher it. I don't want to mess it up. It starts with a C and it has a lot of vowels in it. Yeah. And he's also a great writer as well. They've been working together for some years now. And I can only imagine that when they brought up the Mortal Kombat X story and the direction that they wanted to go, that this was in the back of their mind. They had an idea of what direction they were going to go from MKX to extend the story of our characters and Mortal Kombat.
Okay, so thank you. So the seeds were planted in some endings in MKX?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can definitely, if you probably look back and be like, oh, I see what they did there.
It's a storyline 25 years in the making.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we really appreciate it because we've been loyal fans for 25 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I started in MK1 with Kano in the arcade machine, so...
Me too, I was a huge arcade nerd. That's where I spent my childhood, was spending my allowance to play Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, and now I'm just kind of getting some of that money back. Is how I
that's right. That's only fair, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Second question is, what was first when creating this game? The general plot, roster, gameplay mechanics?
You want to... The roster generally is one of the first things that's discussed with any of our games. You know, we listen to the fans, like we want to come up with new characters and bring new ideas to the games, but then we also want to bring those fan favorites back, you know, to pay some fan service to everybody that's playing the games. So roster is generally one of the first things. From there we start to draft storyline. Simultaneously designers are working on all the movesets and the gameplay, so a lot of it's really done in tandem.
Yeah, generally John and Paulo, the lead designers, have an idea of how they want to change gameplay, and you know, from what we've done on MKX and how we want to evolve it, change it, because we never want to do the same game, the same mechanics. We always want to do something new and fresh. And from the idea and concept of Mortal Kombat 11, they both had ideas of, hey, let's start doing these. Let's implement this new functionality into the game. Let's mix it up. Let's change the pace. So there's always an idea of gameplay, even before sometimes the story.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now the third question: how was the experience of expanding the MKX story with comics, Sean Kittleson? And why didn't you repeat it in MK11?
I'm not exactly sure, but Sean's just a great part of the team and coming up with these stories. He understands them, and he's been writing comics for so long, so that background of writing comics and knowing superheroes and whatnot really helps translate into the Mortal Kombat story, just like how he's helped and did everything in previous games that we've done too. So yeah,
and he's a fan first. Like he's been a very passionate fan of the universe, so he was excited to dig into the lore and like see which ways he could push the storylines.
Because he started working with you guys in Justice 2, right? Sean Kittleson started collaborating more actively in the game.
Well,
in Justice 2.
He helped with the MKX story, and I think he may have dabbled a little bit with us on Injustice 1. Yeah. So he's been part of the family now for quite some time. Absolutely.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about the customization system. So what will this game, what will it have that no other fighting game has?
So the variation system allows the player to pick specific pieces of gear and then socket in augments. Socketing augments, each piece of gear can have up to 3 different augments. Socketing augments will change the way that you play. So some augments could be like in additional damage on spear attacks.
Just like Injustice 2?
But a little bit different because we don't have general like stats like we had in Injustice 2. This is a whole new system and formula. And then visually you can change yourself with skins so that you can look the way you want with these little cosmetic pieces as well. Versus like Injustice 2 where your cosmetic pieces basically created your look. You didn't have all these skins on top of it. And then you can customize your intros, your victories. You can unlock different brutalities. So I mean, you're really creating this character that you want to play as. The different abilities that you decide that you want to equip as well. So you're creating the characters you want to play as. It's a lot of depth. It's amazing.
It's almost an infinite amount of variations for the characters. So it really gives the players a chance to craft their version of these awesome characters.
So we'll have to devote many hours to customize our favorite characters.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay, very good. So considering we will be able to customize these characters, will it be possible to have classic combat weapons like the Ice Sector or the Kirahashi from Reptile? Can we customize weapons or just...
So you can't give them additional weapons. So Scorpion has katanas, right? Raiden has his staff. So they're always going to have those specific weapons. You're not going to unlock an additional weapon from a character that is not in the roster or is in the roster or shit. That's just, no. That's just too much of different combinations that are just not available. But you will unlock different visuals for each one of those weapons for the specific characters.
Okay. Well, so how will we experience the story of MK11? Story mode, of course, the BIOS, endings, something else, or it's just like this the classic way, like history modes, like the story mode, BIOS, endings. Will we have like in Deadly Alliance this conquest mode with different missions or something, or it's just we'll stick to the story mode?
For the most part, we're sticking to the same formulas. You have your core story mode that is canon throughout Mortal Kombat. And then, of course, we have things that are like classic towers. And completing these classic towers will unlock alternate story endings and things like that. The same things that we've generally done before. There will be small little story tidbits that are non-canon that will be throughout the Towers of Time, the single-player experience.
So the classic thing with the little twist.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Very good. Okay, in the first batch of images, we saw Raiden, Scorpion, they look terrific. In Facebook, Twitter, the community manager said something like, the demigod returns. Was it a mistake or has Raiden been demoted?
Well, Tyler Lansdowne's a crazy person, so I don't
Very
listen
true.
to half
Very
the things he says.
Okay.
If by becoming Dark Raiden, I mean, he kind of is almost a demigod at that point. So I think that's kind of the direction that Lansdowne was going with Raiden as being a demigod because he is reborn as Dark Raiden.
Okay, so
otherwise, I have no clue what that fool is saying.
Okay, I thought that was the idea, but okay, well, thank you. Okay, 8th question. Is there a real possibility of getting another adventure game like MK Shaolin Monks or even another genre? Or having MK and Injustice is just like too much for NetherRealm? I mean, it's just like too much on your plate to create another kind of different game?
Peeps?
No, I mean, as a studio, like we always want to evaluate the options that are in front of us every time we're working on a game, and like we're looking to the future. And what are we going to do the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? And again, as I mentioned earlier, we're listening to the fans. Like, what do the fans want to play? You know, right now we're striving to make the best fighting experience that we possibly can. So, does that mean there might be an adventure game or something of another genre in the future? Maybe, but you know, only time will tell.
Okay, so it's not right now.
We're not going to give you an exclusive something or another of what we might or might not be working on. We're making Mortal Kombat 11.
And it's amazing.
And it's outstanding.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, question 9. Will we get the old 2D games in HD at some point with new digitalized actors?
I think that's almost similar to the previous answer, where it's like, you know, if enough fans speak loud enough for it, then we'll take a look at it and see if it's a viable project or not. So time will tell.
Time will tell. Okay. Veronica will tell.
There's a lot there's a lot of love for those older games, but I think a lot of people love playing them in their original form as they are. So, you know, it just remains to be seen what we do in the future.
Okay, so maybe for the 30th anniversary, something like that. Who knows, right?
Again, you get nothing, pal.
Okay.
Moving on.
I'm trying so hard. Okay. Will MK11 have old school secret fights like the ones in MK2 or like the ones in MK9?
There were also secret fights in MKX.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, if we were to continue to go in that same direction, that kind of answers itself.
Every game's got its secrets.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
We're known for that.
Okay, good. That's very good to hear. And the last one. Is there a certain character, fatality or X-ray that didn't make it that you wish it happened?
This is probably a better question for Derek.
Sure. Oh boy.
I will tell you this, of the fatalities that we've been showing, Baraka's new fatality is one of the first ones to make me wince.
Okay.
Which, after the number of years I've worked with these guys, saying something.
We always try and push it to the limit when it comes to fatalities or fatal blows or whatever that we're doing, and an idea will come up and it'll morph and change, and so it may not be always its original idea, but parts of it will always be there. And so that's kind of true. There's not much that I look back and go, man, we could have made that bloodier. You know, like, we pretty much hit the mark almost every time. And if there was something over the top, we definitely should never show that.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure meeting you and getting my questions answered. So
thank you coming to this event, supporting our games, and I hope you love Mortal Kombat 11.
You're invited to come to Spain whenever you want, to Madrid.
Okay? Spain and everything.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.